We are CT Fertility, and just like I've been telling everyone else, is that I've been to Israel a couple times now, and because I've been here a couple times, I have my new Hebrew name is Rafi. So I am Dr. Rafi. Any questions, you always ask for Dr. Rafi. Today we have with us Alon, who's our representative here in Israel, and then we have Linda. There she is. Linda is an egg donor and surrogacy liaison. So what I want to do is that I want to tell you all about CT Fertility. CT Fertility has been in existence for 25 years, helping families have babies. The most important thing about CT Fertility is that we're a full-service IVF laboratory, and the majority of our cases are surrogacy, particularly gay surrogacy. Okay? We have our main office in Connecticut, and we're about an hour outside of New York City. We do have a consultation office in New York City. So if you're in the city, you can have a consultation. But as far as doing the treatment, we do everything in Connecticut. Okay? Being a full-service IVF laboratory, we have a brand new laboratory. And this is exciting because we have a brand new laboratory. We can give you excellent success rates. We have brand new incubator systems. We have air filtration systems, microscopes. And the reason why I spend a lot of money in the investment is because you need that technology to give you the best chance of having a family. And our success rates right now are running about 75 to 80%. Okay? So the most important thing for us is we're doing these things to help you have a family. And when you come to see us, the first and most important thing I want you to do is dream of your family. Okay? Because it is a reality. I want you to say, I always ask, I say, how many children you see 5 years from now, 10 years from now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay? Because the more children, the merrier. But I want you to dream because we can help you fulfill that dream. Okay? So what do? Basically, we work with all the agencies that you see out there. So if you have an agency, you can work with us to create the embryos. If you don't have an agency, when you come to us, we'll help you find the right agency that's best for you as an individual fit. In the United States now, frozen embryos are just as successful as fresh. So when you're doing surrogacy, the important thing about that is that we like to freeze embryos. By freezing embryos allows us to be able to select the best embryo for you. And right now in our laboratory, we're very good at selecting embryos. And then with our data is showing that a single embryo transfer is just as good as a 2 embryo transfer. The only difference with that 2 embryo transfer, the live birth rate or pregnancy rate for twins is about 50%. All because of the laboratory. Okay? Full service means that we create the embryos. We do what's called PGS testing. And with the PGS testing allows us to look at the chromosomes. In addition to the chromosomes, we will know the gender. That allows you to choose what embryo you like to transfer, male or female. If you don't care about the gender, it allows us to transfer the best potential embryo that can get you pregnant, because we do know that only normal chromosomal embryos are the ones that implant. So that's why we're able to select good embryos, because we look at them morphologically, make sure it's the best embryo, and then we can tell which one has the best potential for implantation with the chromosomes. Okay? The question was, what is the risk of doing what's called a genetic screening or PGS? The risk is very, very minimal, because in an embryo, there's 2 different parts. There's a part up here is called the inner cell match, which is the actual baby itself, and then the cells down here are the cells that become the placenta. We sample these cells here. We take about 5 or 6 of these cells, and we don't touch the area that comes the baby. And those cells are sent off to the laboratory for analysis. Okay?
And how it affects the chance?
How does it affect the chances? So the way it affects the chances is that it increases your success rates, because we do know that embryos that have abnormal chromosomes, which in an egg donation, about 30% of embryos are going to be abnormal as far as chromosomes. That's just the way nature is. And if we transfer the embryo as abnormal, there's a good chance it won't implant, but if it does implant, it has a high chance of having a miscarriage. Okay? So by doing the genetic screening, it allows us to identify the embryo with the best potential to lead to a healthy baby. Okay? So we create the embryos, we freeze them. I'm going to let Linda talk now. She's going to talk about the egg donor selection in our database, so you get information on that.
Welcome. First thing I want to do, because our physician is so modest, is let you know that you always want to make sure there's really 2 factors that get you a baby. One is your embryology lab, and one is the physician who does your embryo transfer. That's the bottom line. Usually the nursing staff is who helps you keep your sanity throughout the whole thing. But this gentleman has been doing this for decades, and he's incredible, and so that's always something you want to keep in mind when you choose your physician. So one of your first steps, obviously, is going to be selecting your donor. You have a lot of choices out there. You could be lucky enough to have somebody you know, and that will save you a lot of money. Most people don't have that. Otherwise, you're looking for an egg donor. A lot of choices out there. Most of it is all internet-based. We do have an in-house egg donor database. We have probably about 150 to 200 donors at any one time. Because we're lucky, we're a medical clinic, all of our donors have been screened. That's what you're not going to find out there in the internet-based egg donor world. Though you're going to find a big selection out there, but they haven't been screened. They've applied, they've passed written rules, and they're on a database. So with our donors, they've all been physically seen in the clinic by the physicians. They've all had their lab work done to make sure their ovarian reserve is intact. It's got to be actually better than intact. It's got to be good. They've all been seen for ultrasounds to verify also they have good ovarian reserve. They've had infectious disease testing done. They've had psychological screening done. They've had all this kind of thing. So they're ready for you. Matching the donor is, lack of a better word, it is a shopping process. You work with me one-on-one in selecting a donor. Lots of pictures, lots of open-ended questions. Your donor can be anonymous. That's the default. I mean, donors are fine with that. But there's a whole spectrum of how much you want to get to know your donor. You might want to keep it anonymous, but maybe you want to talk with her. Or maybe you just want to meet her. But we don't exchange information. Or maybe you feel very, serious about getting to know your donor better. And actually, in the long term for your child, you want to be able to reach out to that donor in 15, 20 years. As I say, your teenager goes through identity crisis. So you may have legal contracts involved so that you can, be able to reach your donor down the road. And that's an option for you. Selecting your donor, you could get a donor into a cycle within probably about 30 to 60 days, unless you choose, which often people do, is they choose proven donors who have done this before. So you may wait a cycle or two while you wait for your specific donor. We do primary care, meaning you're always working with one person. I don't want you with a crew of people. I don't want you calling and not knowing who you're going to talk to. So you're always working with me through that process. Once you select your donor, you move on to our nursing team, and you'll be assigned this very specific nurse coordinator who carries you through your whole journey from start to finish. We're explaining embryology. We're doing lots of teaching along the way. You're going to get too much information at times, but better we talk with you more often than not enough. It's kind of our philosophy.
בעצם, אני חושב שאחד הדברים שאני כן הייתי אומר, ואני אתחיל איתו, זה מה שלינדה מקודם אמרה, זה הרופא שנמצא שם, שקורא לעצמו רפי. זה בעצם, ניתן לו השם אתמול, אבל הוא פשוט אישיות מדהימה, באמת. אני עבדתי עם הרופא הקודם של המרפאה, מי ששמע, זה עם דוקטור דויל. אני עושה את זה מתוך תחושת שליחות, כי יש לי 3 ילדים, ואצלנו זה לא היה קל, זאת לקח לנו הרבה זמן, ואני יודע מה זה כשזה תהליך שהוא רולר קוסטר, רכבת הרים, ואתה רוצה, בדיוק בפגישה הקודמת שאלו אותי מה מייחד את המרפאה שלכם, אז אמרתי, מה שמייחד אותנו זה בעצם זה ה-20% האלה, ה-20% האלה שלא מצליחים, כי אנחנו מדברים על 80%, ואתה אומר 80% ומתגעים ב-90%, אבל אתה יכול להיות זה שנמצא ב-20%, ואתה רוצה לדעת שכשאתה ב-20% האלה יש מישהו שדואג לך, שלא רואה את הכסף בסוף, אלא בעצם רואה את המטרה, ואת המטרה זה שיהיו לך ילדים, והחלום של כולנו, אני אומר, שלי עד שזה קרה, אבל זה החלום של כולנו זה שיהיה לנו ילדים, אנחנו נמצאים פה כדי שיהיה לנו ילדים. ואתה רוצה באמת להרגיש שבתהליך הזה יש לך מישהו שמלווה אותך ועוזר לך. ואני באמת הצטרפתי למרפאה אחרי ש3 הילדים שלי נולדו, מתוך איזושהי מטרה ומתוך הבנה שאנחנו פה כדי לעזור לכם לעבור את התהליך הזה. אני שמח, אני לא עושה את זה כעבודה, את העבודה שלי בעצם אני מנסה לסגור אחרי שאני יצאתי מהעבודה, את זה אני לא סוגר אף פעם, כי זה בא מהלב. תמיד אני שם כשאני עושה כנסים בלי הילדים, אז אני שם את התמונה של הילדים, ואני תמיד כזה, אני מסתכל ואני כאילו דומע קצת, כי זה באמת נורא מרגש, אבל פה יש לי את ההוכחה, וזה באמת כאילו, זה מראה מה זה החיים עם ילדים קצת, כאילו, בשבילכם, אבל זה דבר מדהים. אני חושב שעוד פעם, הידיים הטובות שאתם תימצאו הידיים
And with the unlimited plan, that's important because we're guaranteeing you that you're going to be successful. If you're not successful, we will help you do another cycle. So that speaks a lot to us, is saying that our laboratory is very good, and within the first or second transfer or the third transfer, we should be successful. But if we're not, we would definitely, if you don't have any more embryos, we help you create more embryos, because our goal here is to build families. We want you to have a child. So the price sheet that's over there reflects our unlimited program we have. Yes?
What is the added value for gay couples in your clinic?
The added value, the question is, what is the added value for gay couples in our clinic? Number one value is that pretty much that's what we do. That's all we do. We do some heterosexual fertility treatment, some egg donation, but the majority of our treatment is going to be gay surrogacy. The big issue in gay surrogacy, I understand the FDA, the egg donor, and the sperm donor, so that way we like you to come to the clinic at least once. The free sperm, get your FDA blood work done, get your physical done, get your questionnaire done, and then the next time you have to come back to the States is to come bring your baby back. Okay? Clinics that don't have a lot of expertise in gay surrogacy sometimes don't do things properly, and if you don't do things properly, as far as on our end, it messes things up with the FDA, so we don't like to do that, so we make sure everything is done appropriately. And the other thing that we realize is that for gay surrogacy, the most important thing is to have an in-house egg bank, which is what we do. We do have an in-house egg donor program. We know that people like to do one-stop shopping. You come one time, you have the doctor, you have the egg donor, and the only thing you have to go outside for is the surrogacy agency to find your surrogate. Yes? We have a representative. The young man who was here, his daughter's sick as a loan. I have some cards here for a loan, and a loan would be more than happy to follow with you. Unfortunately, his daughter's sick, so you have to take her out right now, which is where you will be soon. So maybe we should all go out and assist alone so you kind of know what to do when this happens to you in the future. Any other questions? Yes? Yeah, so our thing is that our laboratory is very, very good. And we're saying that we should be able to help you have a baby. If we cannot help you have a baby on the first cycle, we do help you with the second cycle. That's the most important thing, is helping you have babies. The other thing that you realize about us, the question was, what makes us special as far as helping couples, is that every couple is individual, every family is individual. You'll have my email information, you'll have Linda's email information, and there's no such thing as a silly question or whatever time of the day. The big thing that I realized being here is that when you're awake and have questions, I'm at home sleeping. So send me an email, so the first thing I do when I wake up, I see the email, I respond right away. Okay? As Alon may have mentioned, things aren't always straightforward. Sometimes there's a roller coaster, but we're here to be on that roller coaster with you. We expect to make a lot of embryos, we expect you to get pregnant the first time, but it doesn't always happen that way. But we're always there to help guide you through it, okay? Because sometimes there's expectations that don't occur, so we're there to help you realize that what's happened, what's the next step. We're with you the entire time. And that's what makes us different. It's very personalized. You're not going to have anything where you don't know who the person is you're working with. You always know who you're working with. You always have access to myself. And particularly, the most important person is finding your egg donor. And that's Linda right over there. She'll help you find the right egg donor. Say it one more, I'm sorry? The cost? Yeah, the cost of our product, I don't have it in my head, but there's the unlimited plan. Yeah, I know. That's why we have the actual, we have the information at our booth. You take it and you see all the breakdown on the costs. Everything is there, so you'll see it. I'd rather you take that with you so that way you have it in front of you to always refer to it. Okay? But the budget is very, very important. That's why we brought the information with us. I didn't bring any in here, but they're at the booth. Okay? Any other questions you have? I have Alon's cards here. Reach out to Alon. I can always answer those questions. We're here the rest of the day at the booth. Any other questions, visit us at the booth. I will be doing consultations tomorrow. So we do have some Skype consults, or you can sign the sheet. There's a sign-up sheet at the booth as well. All right? And we're going to get you a price sheet right away. Okay, that's the first thing we're going to do to get you a price sheet. Any other questions?
Where is the clinic located?
Okay, the clinic, our IVF laboratory is located in Connecticut. That's where we do our procedures because in Connecticut, surrogacy you can do. We have a consultation office in New York City. So if you're in the city, you want to have a consult, you can schedule that consult in the city. But we always ask you to come up to Connecticut. It's about an hour away. It's a train ride. We have a beautiful facility. The one thing I like when people come to visit, especially when they're given their sperm to freeze, I'll show you exactly what your sperm looks like under the microscope. I'll show you what we do here, and you'll be fascinated. Everybody, make sure you bring your phones. They're fully charged because first time you see your sperm under the microscope, you got to make sure you take a video. So you can walk around and say, hey, this is my sperm. It looks really, really good. Any other questions? Yes?
Is there a way to have the sperm go in Israel and shipped?
Yes, good question. Is there a way to have the sperm frozen here in Israel and sent to the States? The answer is yes, but it's expensive. Okay?
It's cheaper to fly and...
It's cheaper to fly and do it. The cost, there's a company that will personally take your sperm, and the cost is around $2,000. Okay? All right, and Laura here has told me our time is up, so any other questions, meet us at the booth and sign up, and like I said, I'm here tomorrow for a consult.
Will be RMA.